Heartwarming twist. Waitress mocked for her accent becomes billionaire investor in just 24 hours. Maria pushed through the heavy diner door, feeling the cool burst of early morning air meet the bustling energy of the Maple Leaf Diner. The smell of sizzling bacon and freshly brewed coffee welcomed her like an embrace, but today felt different, electric. As she poured steaming cups for the farmers in plaid shirts and tired school teachers nursing the last remnants of hope, whispers drifted through the air, carrying tales of Mr. Collins, the venture capitalist who strolled in as casually as someone picking up their mail. The man had the world at his fingertips and a sharp tie to match. Rumor had it he transformed dreams into currency, and today, Maria would inadvertently become a part of that world. "Have you heard?" one of the farmers muttered, his brows knit together. "That Collins fella's been talking about revitalizing the diner scene." The phrase felt like a spark, igniting something deep within her, a hope that something could change. Her thick accent whispered stubbornly in her mind, fear creeping in as she recalled moments of ridicule. Could a waitress from Mexico ever hold the attention of a room filled with suits? As the afternoon sunlight dimmed and shadows stretched across the diner, she found herself seated across from Collins, her heart racing as he quirked an eyebrow, intrigued by her passionate observations about leveraging technology to foster community among local businesses. Maria's ideas flowed, smooth and confident, filling the air with enthusiasm. "We need to support each other, create a network. Think of the possibilities," she exclaimed, her hands animatedly gesturing while the buzz began to grow around them. "Why don't you pitch that to the investors tomorrow?" Collins suggested, one part daring, one part teasing. Maria's stomach dropped, fear and excitement whirling together. Pitch? Her? The thought quivered like the freshly baked pie cooling on the counter. What had she done? There was no way she could ever present her ideas in a polished conference room. But as the exhaustion faded and the excitement built, encouragement flooded Maria's heart from familiar faces around her, the school teachers who brushed away her worries, the farmers who believed in her grit. That night, surrounded by notes and half-eaten slices of pie, she worked tirelessly, doubts plaguing her thoughts as sleeplessness crept in. Who was she to dream big? "You were just a waitress," the voices whispered. But she had a family to feed, dreams to chase, and a flicker of support in her chest. As sunlight filtered through her dusty window, Maria felt that familiar blend of hope and anxiety. The meeting loomed ahead, a grand stage where polished, confident wealth stood in utter contrast to her diner roots. Tension filled the air as she stepped inside the glass-paned conference room, her heart beating like a percussion. She wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was a dreamer. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. When her turn finally arrived, she stood before the judging eyes of investors, trembling hands gripping her notes. Maria poured her heart out, words tumbling out like the diner's laughter and warmth. She saw skepticism flashing behind their suits, but offered everything she had to build hope for her community. Just as she felt them shifting from doubt to intrigue, the room fell silent, tension rising as an unexpected twist unraveled the economy of their valley, news that threatened everything she'd shared. Heads turned, discussions erupted. Would her dreams slip away in that moment, burrowed beneath the weight of harsh reality? As she stood in the eye of the storm, Maria glanced back, a sliver of resolve igniting within her. Would she find her voice amidst the roaring doubts, or become just another name on a list of failed pitches? Maria barely had a moment to catch her breath as murmurs filled the room like a sudden tempest. Investors leaned into their conversations, eyebrows arched high, eyes darting between her and the screens flashing alarming headlines. Major corporation pulls out of local partnerships, economic ruin looms. The words stung like ice water on her skin. She was still gripping her notes, but her mind spiraled. This couldn't be happening. Just when she was finding her stride, the whole world felt like it was crumbling beneath her. Collins shot her a reassuring nod. Yet even he couldn't fully disguise his growing concern. "We can't just sit back while everything falls apart," one of the investors shouted, frustration spilling out. "This isn't the right moment for new ventures." Maria's heart raced, each beat echoing the weight of their skepticism. They had just begun to see value in her ideas. Was this it? Was this the moment that would define whether she remained a waitress serving coffee or transformed into something greater? Gathering every ounce of courage, she took a breath, letting the air fill her lungs, feeling the warm reality of the diner brewing in her heart. "But that's exactly it," she called out, voice ringing through the growing chaos. "What we need is to build a support network. We can use technology to connect our communities. People are looking for safe spaces to invest and shop right now. The difference between surviving and thriving is community, and we can create one that knows our worth." Collins beamed at her, eyes glimmering with an odd mix of admiration and urgency. The room shifted slightly, as if her words hung in the air like a fleeting ray of hope in the dimness of impending doom. Then came a voice from the back, icy and sharp. "And what makes you think you can lead this charge? A waitress from a diner in a town like this?" The words cut right through her, a reminder of those mocktails she had shrugged off. Self-doubt crept back in, an unwelcome visitor. The frosting on her careful dream began to melt, exposing the bitter reality beneath. But before she could succumb to the weight of their judgment, something shifted. A teacher, a woman she had served countless cups of coffee, rose to her feet. "She's right," Lisa said, frustration and fire igniting her voice. "Maria knows what it's like to struggle. She understands our community, and she's got more grit than many of you standing here." Shocked faces turned to Lisa's unwavering stance. A ripple of surprise flowed through the investors. The insecurities that had borne down on Maria began to fall away, replaced by the roaring support of her diner family. The proud laughter and soft despair of Maple Leaf were now her armor. Murmurs fluttered around the room, and for the first time, she could feel a shift. Not just an internal shift in her heart, but a potential shift in the crowd's perception. Maria felt alive. Their faces, once harsh, looked pensive and contemplative. "Let us brainstorm," Collins proposed, breaking through the din with measured authority. "We need an idea, and we need it yesterday. Adjust, adapt, overcome, those are our only options now, and I believe we can find a way." Every second felt like it stretched for miles as discussions sparked anew, fresh ideas flowing like water into parched earth. For the first time, hope blossomed amidst despair, swirling into something better. Maria found herself sliding into the role she never imagined. Ideas sparking between investors and simple diners' chairs. Just then, a sharp ping echoed across the conference room, her phone buzzing fiercely in her pocket. Glancing down, she noticed an incoming notification, a pulse in the chaos. Swiping to see, her heart dropped. It was a video message from a former colleague at the diner, her face flushed with urgency. "Maria, you won't believe what just happened, and it involves you." The world felt like it flipped on a hinge once more as anticipation gripped her. What now? What was unfolding behind the scenes that could change everything she had just fought for? Maria's breath quickened. This could be the revelation they needed, but what was the cost? The energy in the room shifted ominously as Maria stared at her phone, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Lisa's fiery support faded from her mind, replaced by an almost suffocating worry. She had to know what this message contained, but the weight of the investor's expectation pulled at her like a chain. "Are you all right, Maria?" Collins asked, concern etching deeper lines on his forehead. A wave of encouragement swept in from the few allies at the edges of the room, but even that comfort felt distant. All eyes were on her. Taking in a sharp breath, she finally tapped the play button. "Maria?" The video roared to life, the screen flooding with the familiar face of Jenna, her former coworker from the diner. "You have to see this. You're trending on social media, and not just for coffee or your amazing pancakes." Jenna's eyes widened, urgency spilling from her lips. "There's a viral post. Someone leaked a video of you at the conference. It didn't take long for it to blow up. People are talking about the waitress with big dreams, and they see potential in your ideas." Maria's heartbeat quickened. How could this even be happening? A rush of adrenaline coursed through her veins at the thought of being seen as something more than just a waitress. "Wait, hold on," Jenna continued, Your idea about creating a community support network? People are loving it. Investors are starting to reach out, and they want to come on board. It's gaining traction. But what? Maria's voice barely a whisper as dread peaked inside her. The backlash, some people are questioning your qualifications. They're saying you can't be trusted because of your background. The room around her pulsated, noise becoming a living thing as investors murmured among themselves. Her stomach twisted. This was the very fear she had faced all her life, the judgment, the sneering doubts. Suddenly, her triumph felt tainted. Would they see her as worthy of the power she grasped so desperately? For a moment, the world shrunk down to the pulsing silence of her phone in her hand and Jenna's fervent face. She thought of the diner, of every late shift, every struggle that had led her here. And beneath the flickers of doubt, a flame reignited in her gut. Stay strong, okay? We're all rooting for you, Jenna added, her voice a steady anchor amid the chaos. Maria nodded, gripping the phone tighter. Thank you. As she turned her gaze back to the room, she felt something shift within her. The skeptics and their doubts loomed large, but she wasn't just a waitress anymore. She was a voice for her community, a bridge between those who had given up and those who still believed. Listen, Maria called, her voice ringing out like a bell, cutting through the murmurs. What if we use this moment? Sure, there's negativity, but we have a chance to show that a waitress from Maple Leaf can tear down the walls of judgment. We can create a movement that goes beyond profit, something that speaks to real growth, real community. A ripple of surprise echoed through the room. Investors turned to one another, eyes widening in disbelief. For the first time, they saw flickers of potential in her words. I won't back down, she declared, the resolve deepening in her chest. And I don't want us to back down either. As discussions ignited anew, the energy around her transformed. Hope intertwined with resolve, weaving through the growing buzz, lighting up faces once sour. Just then, her phone buzzed again, this time interrupting the newfound momentum. Another message from Jenna. Maria, you might want to see this. There's something brewing, an upcoming interview with one of the biggest finance shows. They want you to share your story, but they also have questions about your past. A bitter chill crept into Maria's heart. The past, a volatile mix of secrets, failures, hopes. What would they uncover? She felt the air thicken as uncertainty washed over her. The road ahead was tangled, but if she meant to rise, she had to face the darkness first. As the crowd buzzed with excitement around her, adrenaline surged. Something big was on the horizon, and whether it meant triumph or catastrophe, she knew one thing for certain. The world was about to see the real Maria, but at what cost? With that, the room slipped into an electrifying silence, all eyes on her once again, and she braced herself for what was coming next. The silence buzzed in Maria's ears, tension hovering like smoke. She glanced around the room, the weight of scrutiny pressing down on her shoulders. Investors shifted in their seats, whispered amongst themselves, eyes darting back to her, their expressions a mix of curiosity and doubt. What if your past comes back to haunt you? A voice rang out from the back, a voice tinged with skepticism, sharp as a knife. It was Samantha, one of the investors, and her cold gaze pierced through the anticipation. Do you think they'll take you seriously when they see where you came from? Heat crept up Maria's neck. She opened her mouth, but words failed her. Fear tightened like a vice on her heart. But the realization hit her, knocking her breath away. This was what she had always feared. The backlash was real, raging like a storm on the horizon. A hand landed gently on her shoulder. It was Colin's. Don't let them get to you, he whispered, his voice steady. You've earned your place here. Just show them who you really are. Taking a deep breath, Maria rallied her thoughts. I won't hide, she said, conviction cutting through her hesitation. Yes, I've struggled. I've had my share of failure and ridicule. But it shaped me. It taught me resilience. I'm not just a waitress, I'm someone who's fought for a voice. And now I have the chance to give others one too. Murmurs grew in intensity, and Maria felt a rush of warmth. She wasn't alone. The crowd was leaning in, drawn to her words. A fire ignited within her, powerful and undeniable. They say I can't be trusted because of my past. But I've been on both sides. I know what it's like to be broke and unseen. That's why I won't let anyone else feel that way. A chorus of applause erupted, some hesitant, some enthusiastic. Maria's heart surged. Then, without warning, her phone buzzed again. A notification flashed across the screen. New comments about her social media video were rolling in, trending hashtags laced with both praise and judgment. She swiped furiously, scanning the posts. Her stomach dropped as she read the vile comments mixed in with supportive messages. Look at her. Thinks she can just waltz in as a nobody. Who even listens to some ex-waitress? The bitterness stung like salt on a wound, and the excitement in the room dimmed. Did they really see her as that? Just some girl with a spatula and a dream? Maria? Collins prompted again. He wore a look of encouragement, but she could see the worry creeping into his eyes. Talk about the bigger picture. Show them why this matters. They need to hear it from you. She nodded, feeling the pressure weigh down on her a challenge. This isn't just for me. It's for everyone who has ever been dismissed, overlooked. My dream isn't just mine. It's ours. A community where everyone has a chance. The murmur shifted, an electric current rippling through the investors. Some began nodding, sparks igniting in their eyes. Could this work? Was there a glimmer of belief forming amidst the uncertainty? But everything changed when someone else stood. A stern figure with an air of authority. It was James, the lead investor, known both for his harsh critiques and sharp insights. He cleared his throat, and the room went quiet once more. Maria, he started, his voice as cold as ice. If we're going to consider you for this interview, there are serious concerns regarding your credibility. Your past won't just fade away with idealism. Do you truly think this is a joke? You think you can change perceptions that easily? At that moment, Maria felt herself teetering on the edge. Everything she worked for, everything she stood up for, it all hinged on this one fragile moment. The fear began to claw at her again. She could hear the echoes of her past warning her. Yes, she shot back, her voice rising above her heartbeat. I think I can, but only if I'm given the opportunity. I'm here to fight for change, not for myself, but for those who've always been told they can't. The air crackled between them, heavy with challenge. James studied her for what felt like an eternity, and just when Maria thought she might crumble, a flicker of intrigue sparked in his gaze. Fine. Let us see if your determination matches your bravado, he said, a hint of a smirk forming. The interview will happen. But know this, if you're not ready for what they dig up, this could turn ugly really fast. Maria swallowed hard, adrenaline racing through her. She had one chance to turn the tide, to claim her place amidst these suit-and-tie giants. But could she really face the scrutiny of her past? As discussions continued at a fever pitch, she glanced again at her phone, feeling the weight of every comment, every judgment weighing heavy on her heart. Her resolve remained, but doubt slinked in like a shadow. Was she prepared for the onslaught of truth that might come crashing down? The pursuit for her story had only begun, and she could feel the darkness creeping closer with a heavy heart. Maria braced herself for the next wave of the battle ahead, uncertain of what revelations awaited her. Would the truth set her free, or ruin everything she had fought for? Maria's heart raced as she left the investor meeting, the faces of her critics still etched in her mind. The room's energy shifted when James spoke, and now a pit of dread formed in her stomach. Collins trailed behind her, a comfort she desperately needed, but even his presence couldn't chase away the gnawing anxiety. You did great, he assured her, though his voice held a trace of uncertainty. You stood your ground. Did I? Maria scoffed, staring at the flickering streetlights outside. I felt like I was on a tightrope, one misstep from falling into oblivion. You'll be fine. You've got a fire in you. Just hold on to that, he encouraged, his steady gaze anchoring her. Maria exhaled slowly, trying to calm the storm swirling inside. But the night air felt heavy, an unwelcome reminder of the doubts creeping in. She pulled out her phone again, desperately scrolling through the recent notifications. The comments hadn't changed, insults mingled with praise, and it was hard to tell which held more weight. Stop reading those, Collins said, echoing her earlier thoughts. Focus on what's next. What's next? She replied bitterly. An interview that could dig up every skeleton in my closet? I can't let them do that. They can't see how broken I really am. They won't see it if you don't show it, he countered, determination hanging in the air between them. Your past doesn't dictate your future. It's just part of your story. As they walked down the rain-slicked streets, Maria's mind churned with thoughts of her past. Her family's struggles, The late nights spent balancing plates while dreaming of a better life. Each memory weighed on her like a lead anchor. She had clawed her way up. Could she really endure the fall back down? Then, suddenly, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a private message from an unknown number. Intrigued and wary, she opened it. "Meet me at the cafe near your old workplace. I know things you need to hear." A chill crept down her spine. Who was this person? Why would someone want to meet her? What could they possibly know? "Everything okay?" Collins asked, noticing her hesitation. This message, she started, her voice a whisper as she showed him the screen. Collins narrowed his eyes, concern etched on his face. Could be a prank. Or worse. What if it's not? Maria replied, feeling a strange blend of fear and hope bubbling beneath the surface. What if they know something that could help? Or ruin you? He said bluntly. This could be risky, Maria. A silence fell between them, thick enough to cut. The weight of the decision sat heavily. Either run towards the unknown or retreat back into the safety of her old life. But Maria felt the fire inside her flicker back to life. "I need to go. I have to find out what they want." "Wait." Collins grabbed her hand, squeezing it tightly. "I'm coming with you." She opened her mouth to protest, but then paused. "Okay." She nodded slowly, warmth blooming in her chest at his unwavering support. "Let us just keep it low-key." As they approached the cafe, shadows danced in the dim light. Maria's stomach knotted, half fearing what might transpire and half yearning for answers. She could almost feel the shadow of her past looming over her. The bell above the door jingled as they stepped inside. The familiar aroma of coffee wafted through the air, but it couldn't mask the anxiety brewing within her. She scanned the room, searching for any sign of the mystery figure in a dim corner booth. A silhouette shifted, half hidden from view. Maria's heart pounded. Was she ready for whatever revelation awaited her? She could feel the tension humming between the two of them, teetering on the brink of an explosive revelation. As she moved closer, the figure straightened, and Maria's breath hitched in her throat. What dark secrets were lined up in the corridor of her past? And would they be the key to unlocking her future, or would they shatter her resolve entirely? Whatever happened next, she knew one thing. Her life was about to change again, and this time, she wouldn't shy away from the truth. "Who are you?" Maria demanded as she stepped into the light. The answer could just be the key she needed, or it could turn into her worst nightmare. The figure in the booth leaned forward, revealing an unfamiliar face. A woman, maybe in her late 30s, with sharp features and piercing blue eyes that seemed to scrutinize Maria's very soul. She looked almost regal, the kind of woman who commanded attention without uttering a word. "Maria," the woman said, a knowing smile creeping across her lips. "I've been waiting for you." A shiver coursed through Maria. "Who are you? What do you know about me?" "I know a lot more than you think," the woman said, her voice smooth yet laced with an edge. "But first, let us talk about why you're really here." Collins shifted nervously beside Maria, his instincts urging him closer to her. She could feel his body tense, a silent warning radiating from him. But curiosity clawed at her edges, spurring her to push for answers. "I came because—" Maria hesitated, glancing back towards the door as if pondering an escape route. The cafe buzzed with conversation, but the air around them felt thick, isolating. "I need to know what you know." The woman leaned back, appraising Maria again. "My name is, and I used to work with someone very close to you," she replied, each word deliberate. "Someone who might have had a hand in shaping your life as you know it." Maria's heart thudded heavily in her chest. "What do you mean? Who?" "That's information I can't just throw around," and said, raising an eyebrow. "Not without ensuring you understand the stakes involved. Your past is one that you can't just leave behind, Maria. It lingers like a ghost." "Ghosts?" Collins interjected sharply, his voice a grating contrast to the soft undertones of their conversation. "What were you talking about? What could possibly connect us?" And linked her fingers and studied Collins with interest. "Your past connects you both, just as tightly as these threads bind you to your present." Maria's breath caught, anxiety wrapping around her like a noose. How could this stranger know about her? And what connection did she imply between Collins and the dark secrets Maria had tried so hard to outrun? "Listen," Maria urged, her voice trembling slightly as her gaze remained fixed on Anne. "Just tell me what you know. I can't keep running from my past." A flicker of approval danced in Anne's eyes. Good. That's the spirit. There's more at stake than you realize. It's not just your career that's on the line. There are people looking for you. Maria, people who want to bury those ghosts for good. What do you mean? Colin stepped in, his tone harsh now, protective. Is this some sort of threat? It's not just a threat, Anne replied, her voice dropping an octave. It's a warning. You need to prepare. The secrets you think you've buried will rise up again, and they won't rest until they've dragged you back into the darkness. Maria felt a wave of nausea wash over her. She thought she was gaining control, but it was crashing down around her. And how do you fit into this? Why should I trust you? Because I have the means to help you navigate this, Anne said, a glimmer of steel in her gaze. And perhaps something more substantial like the truth about your family and your legacy. Legacy? Maria echoed, almost incredulously. The irony stung. Her family was a source of shame she had desperately tried to escape. What kind of legacy were they talking about? You have much to lose if you don't take this seriously, Anne added. But if you play your cards right, you can turn this all into a great advantage. You could elevate yourself beyond merely surviving. You can thrive, if you're willing to face the truth. Maria's mind swirled with fear, anger, and an unexpected spark of hope. Could this be the turning point she had been searching for? As excitement mingled with dread, a question loomed large in her thoughts. What darkness was waiting for her if she chose to embrace this new opportunity? The cafe door swung open, and a gust of wind whipped in, dampening the tension momentarily. Maria caught a glimpse of someone lingering outside, someone familiar who should not have been there. A figure with a face she recognized all too well, one that sent an icy chill down her spine. Maria, we need to go now, Collins urged, just as the figure stepped forward, locking eyes with her. Her heart hammered wildly in her chest. Remember, Maria, Anne said firmly, her eyes darting between them. You can't run from the past forever. It will find you sooner than you think. And all at once, the walls felt like they were closing in. Would she confront the demons of her past, or would they consume her before she had the chance to reclaim her future? With every heartbeat, the stakes grew higher. The tension in the cafe felt electric. The air buzzed with murmurs, and Maria's pulse quickened as the figure stepped further in, face illuminated by the flickering overhead lights. It was him, Mark, her estranged brother, the last person she expected to see today. He hadn't changed much, the same wavy hair, same confident smirk plastered across his face. What are you doing here? Maria spat, instinctively taking a step back, her hands trembling. Nice to see you too, sis, he replied, his casual tone mocking her. I thought family gatherings were a thing of the past for you. Enough of this. Collins interrupted, his protective stance shifting into a front as he moved in front of Maria. What do you want from her? Mark shrugged nonchalantly, his eyes darting between Collins and Maria like a hawk sizing up its prey. Oh, I just came to remind Maria there's no running from blood. Isn't that right? His smirk deepened, sending another chill down Maria's spine. Anne's gaze sharpened. You need to leave. Her dismissal hung heavily in the air between them, but Mark only chuckled. And why would I do that? This is family business. He leaned closer to Maria, his voice dropping to a whisper that sent goosebumps unfurling over her skin. It was never just your past, Maria. You've inherited something rather valuable, and it's about time you realized it. What the hell does that mean? Maria demanded, glancing nervously at Collins for support. He was rigid, tense, ready to defend her against whatever was coming. But could he protect her from the very past she had tried so hard to escape? It means you're sitting on a treasure trove of secrets. And those with a vested interest in your family's legacy aren't as forgiving as you might think, Mark said, his voice a snake's hiss, every word tainted with malice. They want what's theirs. A wave of panic surged through Maria. She had always feared her family's legacy, their dark history that clung to her like a shadow. What do you know? She managed through gritted teeth, heart racing. Oh, I know quite a bit, dear sister. Enough to know you've been living in ignorance, and ignorance that could cost you dearly, Mark taunted, his eyes glinting with a twisted mixture of joy and threat. You've ignored your roots, but they won't ignore you. Not anymore. Get away from her. Collins shouted now, fists clenched at his sides, ready for a confrontation. They were in a public place. Yet somehow it felt more intimate and dangerous, like a coiled spring ready to snap. A bored look crossed Mark's face as he waved his hand dismissively. I'm not here to fight. But make no mistake, Maria, you can't bury the past forever. It's coming for you. And when it does, as if the universe had orchestrated it, the lights flickered again, casting eerie shadows across the cafe. A group of patrons turned to look, sensing the rising tension. Murmurs erupted among them, a collective awareness that something sinister was unfolding. Maria, now? Collins grabbed her arm and began pulling her toward the exit. But Mark's laughter echoed behind them, a chilling sound that permeated through her thoughts. You can run, but remember this, I'll always be watching. You can't escape your blood. As they burst through the door and into the cool air outside, Maria felt like she was breaking free from a nightmare, yet the weight of Mark's words clung to her. What just happened? Collins panted, his breath heavy with urgency. I don't know, Maria whispered, her mind racing with implications. But if he knows about the legacy, if it's as dangerous as he claims, then we need to find out more. We can't let him control this narrative, he urged, scanning the street for any signs of danger. As they moved further away, her heart still pounding fiercely, a thought flashed in her mind. What dark secrets about her family could possibly unfold? And would confronting those truths lead to freedom or disaster? In the distance, a car engine revved to life as headlights pierced the dim evening, illuminating the path ahead. Just before rounding the corner, she caught her breath, knowing they would soon have to confront whatever lay in the shadows waiting for them. And as they turned, a dark figure loomed in the rearview mirror, a sign that their past was not finished with them yet. What awaited them might just link their lives together in ways they couldn't yet fathom. The night air was thick with tension, a palpable weight that pressed against Maria's chest as they hurried down the street. Collins kept glancing over his shoulder, his eyes narrowed like a hawk tracking its prey. Every corner seemed to hide a pair of watching eyes, every shadow a potential threat. Where do we even go from here? Maria's voice trembled, reflecting the chaos swirling in her mind. She had spent years trying to build a life far removed from her family's secrets. But now, they felt like chains pulling her back into the darkness. We need a plan. We can't let Mark dictate this, Collins said sharply, pulling her to a stop outside a dimly lit convenience store. The neon sign buzzed like a warning in the night. Let us regroup. We can't think straight with him lurking around. Maria nodded, her eyes darting around, searching the streets, but she was aware of the panic rising in her gut like bile. The implications of Mark's words sank deeper. An inheritance? His laughter echoed in her mind, a haunting reminder that she might have unwittingly stepped into a game she could not comprehend. As they slipped into the store, the cool air washed over her like a balm. But even surrounded by the hum of fluorescent lights and the smell of stale coffee, Maria couldn't shake the feeling of being pursued. They grabbed a couple of drinks from the shelf, trying to blend in, but their racing hearts were anything but inconspicuous. Look, what if he's right? She whispered, her voice barely breaking through the relentless drumming of her heart. What if I really have inherited something dangerous? Collins' brow furrowed as he studied her. You can't let his words dictate what you believe. We'll dig into this together. We have to. A shiver coursed through her. Together, but how? What if we find something we weren't prepared for? Then we deal with it. You're not running away from this anymore, he said, his tone firm, yet softened by a hint of understanding. The store clerk glanced their way, eyebrows raised, sensing the unusual tension between the two. Maria's heart raced as the man's gaze lingered for a moment longer than necessary. It struck her then. Mark had disrupted her life, but she still held some control over her own narrative. What do I even know about my family? She murmured, more to herself than to Collins. It's been buried for so long. Then we start digging. There has to be something, some way to grasp the truth without falling into the hands of whatever darkness your brother is hinting at. Collins placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, and for a brief moment, she felt a flicker of hope in the face of the encroaching dread as they exited back into the night. The dark figure Maria had glimpsed earlier loomed larger in her mind. We're not alone in this, she murmured. We need allies. Trustworthy ones. Just as they rounded the corner, Maria spotted a glint of metal, a black car parked with its engine running. For a second, her heart stopped. Had Mark followed them? But then she saw a familiar face in the driver's seat. And, their friend from the cafe, her expression tense as she leaned forward, peering into the darkness. "Get in," and shouted, her voice a mix of urgency and fear. "I saw everything. We need to talk." Maria shot a sideways glance at Collins, uncertainty flooding back in, but there was no time. Whatever secrets lay ahead were not finished with them yet, and their only option was to plunge deeper into the unknown. As they approached the car, Maria caught a sudden movement from the corner of her eye, a shadow darting behind a lamppost. Her heart raced faster, a new wave of dread rolling over her. "Collins, did you see that?" He stopped, the weight of her words sinking in. The night was far from over, and whatever lay ahead could tear them apart or reveal the very truths that bound them. But one question burned in Maria's mind as they climbed into the car. What were those shadows hiding, and how much danger had they really stumbled into? As they clambered into the car, the scent of panic mixed with desperation enveloped them. An grip on the wheel was fierce, knuckles white under the dim glow of the dashboard lights. Maria saw her friend's eyes darting to the rearview mirror, scanning the road like a hawk. The tension in the air felt electric, an unspoken acknowledgement that they were all in this together, but for how long? "What did you see?" Collins urged, leaning forward, urgency laced in his voice, and swallowed hard. "I didn't realize it until just now. Marquis not just targeting you. He has eyes everywhere, people watching. I saw them following you." Her words hung suspended in the air, thickening the shadow that had already claimed the night. Maria's pulse quickened. "Who? What do you mean?" Fear twisted in her stomach like a knife. "It's a network, a group tied to your family. They're not just interested in the inheritance. They're after something bigger. I noticed a man lurking near the cafe, always there. I didn't think much of it then, but now." She trailed off, wrenching her gaze back to the road. Maria felt the world around her blur. Her life had been pieced together with mundane comfort, daily rhythms that had made the secrets feel distant, almost fictional. Now those secrets were crashing in, dismantling everything she had built. "What do they want with me?" "More than we know," Collins interjected, his voice steady but edged with urgency. "We need intel. Some sort of connection to what Mark was hinting at." The car was gliding through shadows, the streets whispering of secrets they had yet to unravel. There was an urgency to their motion, like the very night was wrapping around them, ready to swallow them whole. Maria leaned back, trying to catch her breath. The darkness was suffocating. "Look," and said suddenly, her voice sharp. "There's only one safe place I can think of. It's where I used to work, an old warehouse outside the city. They won't expect us there, it's off the grid. But we have to move quickly. We don't have much time." "Do you think they'd follow us there?" Collins asked, scanning their surroundings. "They might, but it's the best shot we have," and replied, determination in her tone. Maria's thoughts raced. What if they find us there? What if we're walking right into a trap? We can't live in fear. Colin's voice was fierce. We can't let Mark win. Whatever danger we're facing, it's better than waiting in the open. The weight of his words hung between them, a harsh truth. There was no escape from this. Running was no longer a viable option. As they sped towards the warehouse, Maria felt a mix of dread and resolve surge through her. It was easier to pretend the past was buried where it belonged, but it was clear now. It would claw its way back if she let it. Suddenly, the car jerked to the side as a figure sprinted from the shadows, cloaked in darkness. It almost connected with the front bumper before disappearing just as fast as it had appeared. What the hell was that? And gasped, her eyes wide, heart racing. Did you see that? Collins glanced backward, face pale. It looked like, but before he could finish, a loud crash echoed in the night as something heavy collided with the passenger side of the car, jolting them all. What was that? Maria screamed, taking a quick look around. Panic clawed at her throat. Stay down, Collins shouted, instincts kicking in as he pushed Maria and in lower. Adrenaline surged through her veins, the reality of their situation crashing upon her like a tidal wave. Drive and drive, she urged, fear now spilling into desperation. As foot slammed down on the accelerator, the alleyway blurred along with their panic. Memories of a normal life felt like lies. Shadows chased them, no longer just whispers of the past, but threats of a future that seemed all but certain. There was no turning back now. Whatever lay ahead, whatever secrets Helix held would demand everything they could give. But just as hope began to dim under the weight of their urgency, Maria stole a glance outside, heart racing. Out of the corner of her eye, she caught a glimmer of something in the distance, a fleeting light, flickering against the night. And over there, Maria gasped, pointing frantically. What is that? They needed to find the light. But would they discover salvation or a deeper descent into the web of darkness that awaited? Time was running out. The warehouse loomed ahead, a massive silhouette against the night sky, its broken windows glow with a flickering light. As they pulled in, Maria felt the thrum of her heart match the rhythm of the engines echoing in her mind. Shadows danced around them, stretching and warping as if alive. Is this really a safe place? Collins asked, his voice low and cautious as he stepped out, scanning the area. It's our best shot, and replied, her determination unwavering. But Maria could see the flickers of doubt in her eyes. The weight of their situation pressed down hard, squeezing the breath from Maria's lungs. Daring a glance at the dark corners of the warehouse, she felt a voice in her head echoing the words of Mark. You can't escape your blood. The tension coiled tightly around her chest, each pulsing heartbeat a reminder of everything she stood to lose. Inside, the air was stale, infused with the scent of rust and forgotten dreams. Piles of old crates and broken machinery scattered throughout echoed with a sense of abandonment. But at the far end, a sliver of light beckoned from an open door. We have to move, Maria urged, her voice barely above a whisper as she pushed through the anxiety gnawing at her gut. Stay alert, Collins warned, his instincts on high alert. The trio navigated through labyrinthine passages filled with shadows that felt like restless spirits. Maria sensed they were being watched, a dark presence lingering just out of sight. As they huddled closer to the flickering light, it illuminated the walls, revealing hastily drawn sketches, notes banked against a corkboard. What is all this? Collins muttered, stepping forward to examine them. It looks like a plan, and replied, her voice tight with realization. They must be plotting something, preparing to take action on the legacy. Maria's chest tightened with every word. But what does it mean? What do they want with me? Just then, a sudden noise echoed through the warehouse, a clang of metal against metal. The group froze, hearts racing. They weren't alone. We need to hide, Collins hissed urgently, signaling for them to duck behind a stack of crates. Maria felt panic claw at her throat as they squeezed into the cramped space. She could feel the adrenaline surging, a spike of fear thrumming within her as footsteps neared. A shadow loomed, a figure casting a dark silhouette against the flickering light. It's time, Maria, a cold voice said, deep and taunting. It was Mark. You can't hide forever. They need you, and I'm here to make sure you understand exactly what you've inherited. What do you want? Maria shouted, emerging from her hiding place, anger fueling her courage. Don't play coy, sis, Mark smirked, stepping closer into the light. You know what, you have power, leverage. It's not just about money, it's history. Our family gave birth to something larger than we could understand. They want it, and you're going to help get it back. Why should I trust you? Maria spat, her hands balled into fists, every bit of childhood fear pushing against her now. You shouldn't, but you have no choice, Mark taunted. You're either with us or against us, and I'd hate to see you fumble this golden chance. Maria felt the weight of his words. And what happens if I refuse? Think about it. You could become someone important, somebody who stands tall, finally known for something. Or the word hung in the air, a threat lingering like the stink of burnt metal. You can walk away and watch everything you love crumble. The world blurred for a moment. All her worries, fears, and dreams twisted into inconclusive knots as she tried to navigate the chaos. It felt like the darkness was sneaking back in, a lost little girl trapped in the shadows of her former family life. But the warmth of Collins beside her sparked a flicker of rebellion. I'm not afraid of your threats, Mark, Maria said, hearing her own voice grow strong. I'm going to expose you for who you really are. I don't need your dirty inheritance when my people stand behind me. Mark's expression shifted from smugness to fury as he took a menacing step forward, but before he could respond, the door slammed open, a flash of figures rushing in. Maria squinted into the chaos as several shadowy figures spilled from the doorway, converging like wolves on their prey. Grab her, The command rang out through the air, and in that moment, all sense of normalcy shattered. Maria's instincts kicked in, her heart hammering wildly as she pushed back against Collins, throwing herself into the fray. "Run!" Collins shouted, pulling into safety as they dashed toward a side exit. Maria felt fear ignite her bloodstream. Running into the unknown, she was leaving everything behind: the past she hoped to escape and the legacy she was meant to confront. Outside, the cool air greeted her like a burst of freedom, urging her forward. They stumbled into the night, frantic steps echoing against hard pavement as shouts followed. "We can't let them catch us," Maria gasped, heart pounding in time with her racing thoughts. "What do we do?" Collins' eyes widened as he glanced back. Urgency washed over him. "We get to safety, find a place to hide, and regroup. We need a plan. They can't corner us forever." As they sprinted down the unfamiliar streets, Maria stole a hesitant glance back, catching glimpses of figures darting behind them. Mark and his crew were relentless, shadows they could not shake. "Keep running, Maria," and urged, firm and unyielding. The conflict had become so real, each heartbeat a reminder of the haunting challenge that lay ahead. Would she be able to confront her blood, the legacy that sought to pull her back, without succumbing to its dark tendrils? The chase was on, and with every turn, Maria felt the weight of everything she fought for pressing against her. The shimmer of dreams flickered ahead, brightening the darkness ever so slightly. There was no way back now. The only choice left was to forge ahead, steeling herself for whatever would come next. "Let us not look back," Collins said fiercely, determination forged in the flames of survival. Maria nodded, heart full of fire. They would face whatever lay ahead together. This battle wasn't just hers, it was all of theirs. As the silhouettes chased them further into the night, a renewed sense of strength flooded Maria's heart. In that chaos, she felt against all odds the power of hope. It would lead her, no matter how twisted the path became. This was her moment to rise, and she would not back down.